Never been to Norwich. Heard that it's nice. Adam, I don't need to tell you, because you'll know, Mr. Preview, that Norwich haven't won in 7 now. And obviously we are excellent on the road. Do you see us? How do you see Tuesday panning out?
It is the perfect time for Norwich, I would say, to get a visit from Dr. Argyle. With a team that's got far loftier ambitions that, as you say, Aaron, haven't won in 7 games, when they've got the quality in the squads to have easily beaten that record. They need a visit from a side that just has not performed away from home for many, many months. It's an annoying one, because had we been going there last season under Schumacher, even though we hadn't won away from home under Schumacher, you get the idea that Norwich are the sort of team that we could play against, because Norwich themselves like to play. They may not necessarily have been effective over the last 7 games, but there have been games like against Hull City just before that where they're able to blow them away. There have been other circumstances. They had a really nice high-scoring game at Derby where they came out on top. So they've got quality there, and they will keep the ball. Anyone expecting us to play them off the park is going to be disappointed. So, I think with the team they've got, the talent they've got, Borja Sainz is having what I think you'd best describe as a first half of last season Morgan Whittaker, where everything he seems to hit goes in, and there's a constant danger whenever he's on the ball, and that's what he offers, and he's just one example of what Norwich have got. So, on paper, this is only going one way. Now, football has never been played on paper and never will be. So, we're the sort of team who may be able to spawn a result from somewhere, as you could easily argue we did on our last away game, with only having 1 shot in the box, but still getting a creditable draw at Derby County. You can't rule out that happening. But it certainly isn't the most likely outcome. I think this is the ideal game for Norwich to put their run of form to one side and get another win on the board and get moving forward again. As much as I'd like us to avoid it. It's tough to see where our points come from here. If there is a Norwich resident around who could give us a little bit of hope into how it's going, then I'd be willing to hear from them. But even that seems unlikely.
Absolutely not. Sam, 1 loss at home all season for the Canaries. Argyle, no wins away. Do you want to say something stupid like we can do this, please, for the clip?
I mean, we can do it, if only because they're on a very poor run of form. Although, yes, they've only lost one home game, not even this season, but actually only one home game in 2024, no less. And they've won more than they've drawn in that time. Their last couple of they are still like about 3 without a win at home, with 2 draws and that 1 defeat to Bristol City. So we couldn't really have a much better time to go to Carrow Road in the midst of their very poor run of form and us having our confidence boosted a little bit by a creditable draw at Derby, in which we at least defended pretty well, if nothing else. So all that in mind, we can do it. I don't think we will, but I do think we'll get a draw. So I'm going to be more positive than Adam. I do think we're going to get a draw. I think Norwich, they seem to be a very streaky up and down side. They started the season poorly going into the first international break, and then September through to kind of early mid-October, they looked like they were absolutely on fire. They looked like the best team in the league for that little run. They looked like they'd break into the top 2, no problem. And then they've gone on another bad run, winless in 7. So naturally, if you're a Norwich fan, you're going to be looking at this game as, right, this is the opportunity to get back to winning ways and then to start another good run if you're a Norwich City supporter. But I don't know. I just think that if anything at the moment is good about Rooney's Argyle, it's the confidence and the mindset, certainly in home games. And maybe we can take that into the away games as well after the draw at Derby. Norwich's confidence is as bad as it's probably been since they returned to the Championship. I don't know. I fancy we might get a draw, and that's as much as I can go.
Okay, fair enough. Adam, you've already mentioned Borja Sainz. Is there any other key threats we need to look out for? Is there who's made your preview? Have you done a preview for Tuesday? I don't know.
Preview's on the way. It's on the way, but it's not done yet. So there's a bit of ground to cover. I think that perhaps we're looking at Josh Sargent being slightly conspicuous by his absence in the way that he's been there, and the fact that maybe that links in with what Sam's saying about it being the best time to play Norwich. I do tend to agree with that for what it's worth. I think there are certainly worse times to have been playing them when they're on the midst of a scintillating run. I just still don't think it'll be enough for us. But that's perhaps an option. If you look through their side, there are, as I said, throughout the side, there are talented players. I think that Mark Honda's off the top of my head, who's kind of come in and replaced Sargent, got at least one of their goals against West Brom in the 2-2 draw yesterday. So, and it's not as if someone's going to drop out and we're immediately going to look at it and say, oh, well, Norwich are particularly weaker now. There are areas you can get at them. I know. I'm labouring the point that I just can't see it. But as ever with these away predictions, hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, just a quick look on FOTMob. Fisher is suspended. Silmane has a hamstring injury. Josh Sargent's out until January. Nunez is out until early December, and Argyle legend Ashley Barnes is out with a leg injury until early December as well. Sam, I've got a couple of questions to finish. Actually, I'll just give you the one. Obviously, you're a big fan of Johannes Hoff, Thorup. Thoughts on his side and how he's adapted to English football? Obviously, I know you're a big fan of his work at Northumberland.
Yeah, I think when he was linked with our job over the summer, I did think he looked the outstanding candidate. How he drilled an attacking philosophy into Northumberland throughout his time there. He obviously made a bit of a rough start. Clearly, they were adapting, and then, like I said just now, he went on that really good run, which kind of made me think, well, he's got this stuff now, and are they going to be up there with Leeds, Burnley, Sheffield United fighting for the top two? But since I kind of began to think that, they've not won since. So it is a tough one. He is one of those who's very firmly committed to quite a possession-based style, from all I understand of it. Certainly that's what he was at Northumberland anyway, but also quite an attacking possession-based style, not really the kind of sterile, slow build-up play that you sometimes see from teams. But it's obviously not been executed too brilliantly the last few games, and teams do seem to have found them out a bit. And it is a bit of a game of cat and mouse with teams like that they can make small adaptations to their philosophy to get around the adaptations teams make to them. So it will be a sign of how good a manager he is, whether he can then find a way to adapt and then start the climb up league again. I don't think he'll be judged entirely on this season. That they are obviously very much going into a new era with a new director of football as well, and with obviously Weber and Wagner both going within a few months of each other. So I do think there's probably a feeling around there that if they have like a solid top 10 season where they show signs of it all coming together, that will be very much enough for him to get another bite at the apple. But at the minute they're 13th, so probably not where they hoped they'd be at the end of November at all. So yeah, I think he does seem to have all the hallmarks of a good manager, but he's got to start getting more results soon. And just hopefully for us, it won't be on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I mean, for the Norwich fans I know, which I might know a few more than you, they are not content with a top 10 finish. They want to go up. I thought they would be, just happy with a few years in the Championship, avoiding the yo-yo tag. No, that's what they want. I think they have bigger ambitions in their own heads of the size of club they are, and I think that they feel like they should be pushing for promotion. Really quickly then, because we said under an hour, and you have just over a minute, Adam. Assuming that Whittaker's out again, I haven't read anything from the post match. I've just had like a day off from Argyle, which has been, well, I haven't actually, because I went to watch the Women, and that was, that angered me again. Brilliant. So, what was I saying?
Yeah,
assuming Whittaker is out
anyway.
Yeah. Well, okay. Assuming Whittaker's out, who replaces him? Did you just chuck right in the 10?
Probably. Unless you want to. Unless he's got an eye on saying the more winnable game is Bristol City, which is arguable. I think we've done enough based on what I've been saying a little earlier on to say that that Wright probably gets the start here. I mean, ultimately, I'd rather we change shape and go back to 4 at the back and 3 in the midfield. But if we are sticking, then it feels like a straight swap is probably the most likely.
Yeah, absolutely right. Let's wrap this up in 40 odd seconds. George says, can you wrap this up, boys? Sam's in my kitchen and I want my tea. So we'll call it a night there unless you two have got anything really important or
Predictions
you want to add.
Predictions? Like
yeah,
scoreline? I'll go 1-1.
Yeah, go on then. Adam?
Well done. 2-0 down by half time, 3-0 by the end to Norwich.
I'm going 4-1 Plymouth Argyle. Thank you and good night. Yeah, literally, thank you and good night. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, all.